We had Hella Good by No Doubt.
Fucking oath.
The most appropriately named song.
I'm about to run through a brick wall, man.
Yeah. Such a banger. And then we had Harvest Moon by Neil Young, a classic from the Billabong Roadhouse.
I felt like I was at the Billabong Roadhouse with Gavin Darcy just then.
I reckon you'd be looking a bit worse if you were there with Gavin Darcy, let me tell you. That would have been in some good areas.
Man, I tried to do some research on No Doubt, and then the only thing that came up was are No Doubt invited to Gwen Stefani's wedding. That's all I could get. I don't know if they are. I hope they went.
You'd think so.
No Doubt reportedly not invited to Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton's wedding. Just absolutely groundbreaking stuff on Pass the Orcs. Tommy, what are you consuming at the moment? What are you reading? What are you doing?
I was about to say usually food and water usually keep me pretty alive.
Yep.
But no, man, I have had a fair bit on in my professional life recently, so I've stepped away from uni from the semester, which has been a nice, refreshing break.
Yep.
Even though I'm really looking forward to our special ep, and we're going to take a deep dive into some of my favourite parts of my university degree so far, and just some good food for thought and some good discussion. So I've had some time to sort of consume a bit more other media. I've been watching that Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Hancock.
Wow. Yep.
That's gangster. I would like to hear your thoughts on that. Why do you say wow?
Oh, it's very interesting.
Do you accept his thesis?
I don't know enough to accept or discredit.
Yeah.
I like to consume it. I think it's very interesting. However, I can't like flat out say yes that happened.
Nah, fair enough. Yeah. But is there enough there for you to go?
On some days,
maybe you have a point. Maybe prehistory's not totally correct.
On some days, I'm fully dived in. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. For everyone who doesn't know, I'd really recommend go and watch Ancient Apocalypse, Graham Hancock. It's it is a bit out there. He's a writer, and that's part of the discreditation is that everyone goes, oh, he's not critically acclaimed. But the further I've gotten to this series, this doco, the Rogan podcast with him, and heard all his stuff, I think his life experience speaks to enough to say, look, we have actually dove in the caves, but really his whole position is that there was a cataclysmic event 12,000 years ago, roughly. Let's say 10,000 BC. Floods.
A giant wave, big floods?
Yeah, big. Maybe it might have been an asteroid that hit, who knows? Might have been a global temperature problem.
Yep.
Swung into big floods, ice age, pretty much wiped everyone out, and civilization has regrown, thinking that it is the most advanced civilization and that we are the most electromagnetically advanced. And he's kind of going to these ancient sites of Machu Picchu and Göbekli Tepe and even Australian sites all over the world, and unearthing and showing some of the pyramid structures, some of the artworks and the hieroglyphs. And
at these ancient sites, there are similar depictions of tools.
There is like complete consistency across every site that has the same, very, very similar iconography, same tools, same unusual creatures, same storytelling of an afterlife or a judgment process. There's all these really interesting similarities that all these giant pyramid sites have that are all around what might, in a climate that might have existed 12,000 years ago, where sea levels are 100 meters shorter than what they are now. But it's true. And anyway, the aliens are not real.
I think it's beautiful.
But I really do. I would recommend go and have a look at that if you're into alternate ways of thinking, because it's puzzling when you see some of the size of the rocks they've moved them hundreds of miles. And why are you laughing right now?
I'm just thinking about talking about Harvest Moon Neil Young at the Billabong Roadhouse, and now we're at Graham Hancock. Well, I love listening to it, and I love how much you love it, but I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
Okay, well, let me move on to what else.
I love it. So that Ancient Apocalypse
Yeah.
is a TV series that you're watching.
Oh yeah, look, I honestly fall asleep to it. I actually think that I already know it all. I've watched a lot of his content.
Yeah.
I've read a lot about ancient civilizations. As you know, I'm interested in the Vedas and some of the more fundamental Hindu scriptures.
Yeah.
Early history and biblical texts. You know, I study philosophy, and I think it's interesting that every single culture talks about a giant flood. They talk about all these different events. They talk about giants. They talk about metaphysical things like levitation and
Dragons.
I don't think they do talk about dragons. No, that's more.
Apologies for the derailment.
No, but you know, it's once you if you are willing to accept that, you know, dinosaurs roamed around here, and you're really truly willing to accept the sort of Rick and Morty style universe, right? There could be anything going on. Aliens could be happening. You know, aliens could have been here before. We could be a less evolved form of the aliens. You know, like, who knows, right? Once you can take that acceptance, I think all those things that you might accept as totally not real, for example, the biblical events being real,
Yes.
to be maybe real.
I'm totally on board. I'm going to need a refresher. I reckon we go to 2 songs out of our playlist and then we'll be right back.
Here is Bhagavad Gita from fucking, you know, Kama Sutra number 5.
That's beautiful stuff.
No, we'll
be
get
right
back
back
into what I'm consuming a bit more later, Matt. There's more interesting stuff that's not so controversial and crazy. There's a bit more cool stuff that's scientifically backed, if you like, academia and critical acclamation, Matt.
I guess I don't need the critical acclamation. I do love Graham Hancock. I'm sorry for feeling it maybe diminishing
Yeah, fuck you, man.
your passions. We're going to play 2 songs. We'll be right back.